Hello and welcome to my channel. If you're new to my channel and wondering what kind of content I put out, your answer is in 2 words. Incredibly fun stuff. Okay, that's 3 words, but you get the point. And now, if John Wick was sent to assassinate you, and the only person who decides to help you and stop him is Robert McCall, would you survive? Let's find out. So today on the Showdown, we'll be comparing 2 outstanding action figures in their own right, John Wick and Robert McCall. My name is Soibi. I'm a broadcaster, actor, and voiceover artist. Welcome to my channel. Here on this channel, I do some interesting showdowns, comparisons, and analysis of iconic action figures, superheroes, and even villains. Now, if this tickles your fancy, click on the subscribe button, like the video, comment, and share. Now, about John Wick and Robert McCall, personally, I think they're both badass fighters, and the outcome of the matchup between these two would certainly be a real tough one to predict. But that's why I'm here, right? Now, for starters, they're both protagonists of some sort, and they both have military training. While Robert McCall is a former Marine and DIA operative who will aid anyone who has been antagonized, hurt, or victimized by any means necessary, John Wick, due to his harsh background and being rigorously trained from his childhood and adulthood and his career in the Marines, could be described as a very serious and stoic individual who rarely speaks more than is necessary, preferring actions over words, and being described as someone who never wastes words, with a strong sense of obligation and moral code. Secondly, they are both widowers and former hitmen who promise to leave their former lives. They both go against the Russian mob for personal reasons and are betrayed by allies, although they end up killing them, which is not surprising. So you see, they both have quite a lot in common. I'm very certain you would understand why a battle between these 2 protagonists would be a real tough one to crack. Well, however difficult it may be, it's not impossible to do. So to aid us in this analysis, we'll be comparing them in 7 key domains, which can be used to determine the outcome of most fights really. These are strength, agility, speed, fighting skills, intellect, weapon handling, and grit. Now let's start with physical strength. John Wick, the boogeyman, is very strong. Although it is not his greatest of attributes, still he can easily overpower and restrain larger opponents, knock out fully grown men with a single strike, break their necks and bones with relative ease, and effortlessly break through hardened glass. By human standards, he is highly resilient and sturdy. He was able to survive multiple gunshot wounds, stabbings, and blunt force trauma without feeling much of an effect. His greatest feat of durability was when he survived falling off the Continental Hotel. On the other hand, McCall is in peak physical condition for a man his age. This is partly due to his military history and healthy diet. He stays in shape by working at a Home Mart hardware store, pushing dollies of cement. He is strong enough to drive a corkscrew through a man's chin and break his neck. When it comes down to sheer physical strength, McCall is stronger, being a power lifter unlike John Wick, who relies more on tactics and grappling and using his body weight to deliver his techniques. So when it comes down to strength, I'll give the edge to Robert. Let's look at agility. Both John and Robert show peak human agility when fighting against more than one enemy at a time without tiring out or taking a break to catch their breath. And they killed every last one of these assailants. Now, even though both characters have displayed agility in the movies, I believe John stands out more. Because we've seen him do certain martial art moves and combinations, say using judo or jujutsu, that requires some serious agility compared to Robert. So as far as agility is concerned, the boogeyman has the edge. Who is faster? Let's look at speed. Now, just for the record, my focus on speed is also in how quickly they're able to gather information, how stealthy they are, and how quickly they can finish up opponents and complete missions. Now, no doubt in the movie John Wick, we saw our boogeyman kill all of Viggo Tarasov's enemies in one night, which is amazing. Now, this was considered impossible for even John Wick, but somehow he managed to pull it off and earn himself his freedom from the Russian mob. On the other hand, we've also seen Robert McCall pull some insane stunts and finish fights like a total badass, like when he fought and killed 4 of Slavi's henchmen in under 1 minute, which is absolutely outstanding. In comparison, John Wick's fight scenes could go on for hours, and personally, I feel even though he's fast, he takes too long to finish off his opponents. I mean, he fights like he has all the time in the world. He seems to focus a lot on inflicting maximum damage at every point in time, and that makes him spend longer compared to McCall, who seems to want to finish the fight in the fastest and most efficient way possible. So because of that, in the category of speed, McCall wins for me. Now how about fighting skills? McCall is an extremely skilled martial artist who's particularly familiar with Krav Maga, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, boxing, eskrima, as seen in his fight with Abbi. He effortlessly fought and killed 4 of Slavi's henchmen under half of a minute, with police sources having said the killings had all the earmarks of a tough war between rival factions. He also defeated 2 corrupt policemen and killed a hitman who tried to ambush him at a diner. He can wield knives with great efficiency and improvise weapons such as shot glasses, corkscrews, books, teapots, glasses, credit cards, you name it. Anything can be used as a weapon for McCall. In comparison, John is an incredibly skilled martial artist and hand-to-hand fighter. His fighting skill consists of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Judo, Jiu-Jitsu, Sambo, Aikido, and Krav Maga. He can quickly outmaneuver, outmatch, or simply outlast his opponents, even being capable of taking on multiple enemies at once. John is able to adapt to his opponent's fighting styles, studying them during the fight and adapting to negate their strengths, as we see when he faced Zero and his students. He also sometimes uses dirty tactics such as striking the groin, gouging the eyes, or even biting. Wick is famous for once killing 3 men in a bar with just a pencil.
I once saw him kill 3 men in a bar with a pencil,
much to the amazement of the Tarasov brothers. Also, he's extremely skilled at breaking into secure locations and escaping without being noticed, and he's able to memorize complicated architectural layouts easily. When he first stopped the Bowery King in an alley, the latter admitted that he did not hear the assassin approach. Also, he's an expert driver, motorcyclist, physician, equestrian, etc. Now, if I were to rate them in terms of fighting skills, I'll give John Wick a 9 and Robert McCall an 8. So you know who wins in the domain of fighting skills. With regard to intellect, I'd say it's more challenging to be able to tell who's better. Now, McCall is a highly intelligent man, being college educated. He shared his knowledge of nutrition with Ralphie and Alina, helping Ralphie lose weight to pass his security guard exam. He also knew how long it would take for Slavi to bleed out, and knew an assassin did not walk the power lines based on the condition of his hands. He is extremely well organized and punctual, as noted by Sammy, to always arrive on time like a clockwork. Also, McCall is very literate, having read 91 of the 100 books everybody should read, including The Old Man and the Sea, Invisible Man, In Search of Lost Time, Between the World and Me, and Native Son. He fluently speaks several languages, including English, Russian, Spanish, Turkish, Yiddish, and Arabic. McCall is a master strategist and is well versed in preparation. He taught Dave to always have a contingency plan, and he knows how to play chess. In a short span of time, he made traps from home-made supplies. Impressive. Whereas, John was shown to be a very intelligent individual who could outsmart his enemies even under extreme stress and can easily think his way out of dangerous situations. As a master hitman, John is highly capable of casing out, planning, and executing assassinations. He's also very spatially aware in combat situations, making use of the environment, weapons held by dead enemies, and even legendarily, using pencils. John is shown to be fluent in several languages, including English, Russian, Italian, Hebrew, American Sign Language, Belarusian, Arabic, Japanese, and Indonesian. He uses these skills a number of times when conversing with friends and enemies alike. He notably stabbed the Bowery King in the neck, but his knowledge is so remarkable that he gave him the choice to keep pressure on the wound and survive. Inside a train, he demonstrated further anatomical knowledge when he found an angle to direct a knife towards Cassian's chest before driving it straight into his opponent's outer. Looking at these two, McCall to me is more calculating. and is less likely to run headfirst into a fight without thinking it through, and maybe that's why he comes up with less injuries. John, on the other hand, let's just leave it at that. Someone named Jasmine Batil makes an interesting observation. She says she'd go with McCall for one major reason, and that is that John Wick is not calm. His main drive is rage, and he's emotionally unstable. McCall knows how to manipulate people by their emotions. Even if they don't have any, he'll find a way to get to their ego in order to trap them. He's a man in peace, while John Wick is not. McCall also has more experience, he's more calm, analyzes the situation better, and would never make himself a target. Wick, on the other hand, is prone to fury and would eventually lose his temper. So because of his range and how calculating and strategic he is, I'll give the edge to McCall when it comes to intellect. How about weapons handling? Who's better at handling weapons? Being both a trained assassin, as well as a former Marine and war veteran, John Wick is proficient with a variety of firearms, including pistols, revolvers, rifles, and shotguns, as well as being able to precisely eliminate targets from long distances, as seen in his raid on the Tarasov safe house. John is able to effortlessly blend his marksmanship with his hand-to-hand skills, being able to swiftly use grappling moves combined with precision shots to take on large groups of organized gunmen. John Wick achieved 49 headshots in the first film and 104 headshots in the second film. He's also skilled in throwing projectiles like knives and even using a tomahawk on one occasion with deadly accuracy and force. John also sometimes simply throws his firearms when he runs out of ammunition. He's also skilled in wielding and throwing knives. During knife fights, he tends to slam his hand against the pommel of the knife to drive the blade into his opponents. He also used Ares' own push dagger to kill her. In a knife shop, he demonstrated expertise throwing bladed weapons. John also shows skill in the use of swords during his fight with Zero and his students. In addition to his impressive skills with firearms and bladed weaponry, John is very good at using whatever is within his reach as an offensive weapon, as seen when he dispatched 2 men with a couple of pencils, when he killed Ernest with a book, when he used a bell to fend off the shinobi, and even using horses in a stable to defeat his enemies. In comparison, McCall is also proficient with various firearms including pistols, submachine guns, and even nail guns. He's very accurate as he was able to shoot Slavy through his hand and in the throat, and shot Kovac in the face with a harpoon gun. Remember also he can wield knives with great efficiency and improvise weapons such as shot glasses, books, teapots, glasses, corkscrews, credit cards in a fight. That's just impressive. But when it comes to weapons handling, I'll give the edge to John Wick. Now finally, let's talk about grit. Who is grittier between the two? McCall struggles with obsessive-compulsive disorder, OCD, as well as insomnia. McCall finds it hard to sleep at night. It's hard to imagine what goes on in the mind of a man who doesn't sleep and still fights as good as McCall. He's definitely a strong-willed individual and shows resilience. On the other hand, John Wick struggles with anger and is consumed by vengeance, and he can be overconfident sometimes. Still though, once John sets his mind on a goal, he will not stop until that task is complete, no matter what obstacles get in his way. His unparalleled level of focus and determination has earned him a legendary status in the assassin community. To be with the love of his life, Helen, John completed a task that was deemed impossible, but his desire to retire and live with Helen led him to find the strength to complete this task. And when it comes to grit, I'll give it to John Wick. So there you have it. And a real fight between John Wick and Robert McCall. Who wins? I'll say John Wick, but only narrowly. John's strength might be his rage, but it could also be his weakness. And if he doesn't control it or find a way to be calmer in a showdown with a fighter like Robert, he might just lose. But for today, he wins narrowly because he controls more domains. So if John Wick was sent to assassinate you and Robert McCall stands in his way, it's very likely the boogeyman will still get to you eventually. Sorry, except you get another John Wick from an alternate universe, in which case they'll likely kill themselves and you'll survive. Thank you for watching this video. Hit the like button if you enjoyed it, and let me know what you think in the comment section below. And if there's a matchup you really want to see, let me know as well. I post content every few days, so remember to subscribe and hit the notification button so you can be notified once I've uploaded. Thanks again for watching. Till next time, see you on the winning side.